the most important trip we will probably make in life is when we meet somebody halfway. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and dear guests. This speech is a sequel to what happened in the last week when I was talking about the art of conversation. Now this negotiation is conversation with a purpose. Conversation could be anything, it could be without a purpose as well. So this negotiation is surely one with purpose. All of us on an everyday basis undertake numerous negotiations. Negotiations with the auto driver, negotiations with the milkman, negotiations on my travel, whether it's an airline that I'm taking, or there's negotiations with my students who want more attendance because they came in a little late and they lost attendance. Everything from a living room to the boardroom, with my maid or with my boss, it's all about negotiations. Now these negotiations can be fun and exciting for those of us who like this bargaining act. And for some others, it could be very painful and awkward as well. Now, the art of negotiation is something that some of us get naturally and some of us need a little bit of practice. For me, personally, the best practice ground is at home, with the children, with the spouse, and from there, the skills that you build up here, you can take it to any level. So let's start off with a couple of these scenarios. Now take a home situation. Raising a little child is not easy today, right? I always say that child psychology is something that children learn to manipulate their parents with. So today's children are very smart. They can whine, they can threaten, they can act the spoiled brat, they can throw tantrums. All these are simple negotiating tactics which never fail. But is that the right thing? Should a child be given the power to negotiate, or is there a way in which we can use this to the advantage of both us and the children? So what do the children negotiate about? Bedtime, parents say 8:30 bedtime, well, this is what you will have for breakfast, this is all is your screen time, if not this, then you're not going to get that. So there's a constant battle on. And sometimes parents are very patient, and sometimes if it's at the end of a work day, they are so high on their temper that they will just shout at the child or throw things at somebody and things like that. So what would be the best way to negotiate with your child? Should you give in to him, or should you set your boundary lines? I personally believe that children at a very young age should be allowed to negotiate, but the parameters have to be very clearly laid out. First of all, simple things like you lay out the choices. Say, don't give them a whole set of choices because it will overwhelm them and they'll probably ask for a lot of that. So just give them binary choices. Binary choices, would you like to wear the red shirt or the blue shirt? So that's all is the choice. Or you can give them parameters. You could probably tell them that you can eat your burger provided you eat this fruit first. Okay? So you want to bargain, you win some and you take some. So there's both a give and a take. So early on when you teach these children these sets of negotiating and how it works, most often these children grow up to be more independent. They know what they can ask for, they know how far they can stretch, and also they will be able to deal with their own situations in a much better way. So they become good expert negotiators, but constructive negotiators. So rather than giving in to the threats and the whining and the temper tantrums of the children, if you can organize their choices and tell them that, okay, I'm going to give you this extra hour in the park, provided you come and help me with dinner at home. Okay? So that way, both of you are getting what you want and the objective is achieved. Now let's go to a more difficult scenario of the workplace, right? So we were just hearing a lot about layoffs. Now the most often the question that comes up in anybody's mind and any employee's mind is, I need a raise, right? How do I ask for it? So this salary negotiation, whether it's your fresh joinee or sometime in the workplace, you always want to, I feel I'm paid less for the work that I do. I'm overworked and underpaid. So this is a constant battle everybody has. Now is there a right way to ask for these salary hikes? Now, often the thought process in the mind is, will I look greedy? Do I deserve a raise? How much of a raise should I ask for? What is the number? And how do I first of all set up this conversation? So let me tell you of a simple instance that happened and what was right or wrong with it. So for example, there was this employee who sent in an email with the subject line says, "We need to talk." And a two-liner of a mail which said, "I have worked very hard this year and the results are there to show I need a raise." That's it. Now, what is right or not so right about this? Firstly, it's very impersonal. You don't write in the subject line, "We need to talk." Whatever level of employee you may be, you don't say, "We need to talk." Very impersonal, and there is a hint of a threat in that subject line itself. So what is the threat? That is, I need a raise, failing which I will quit. Okay, this is the implication that is hidden there. So you don't want to put the opposite side on a defensive even before you actually set up the meeting. What would perhaps be a better way to do it? So firstly, there is this impersonal touch to it. Secondly, there is a perceived threat in the lines of the email itself. Thirdly, it would, if at all, if the management accepts it, it would be like setting a very bad precedent, saying that, "Oh, all I need to do is shoot an email and they will give me a raise." Impossible, right? This is not going to happen. So, and the management could also perceive it as, "I'm being held hostage. So what if he leaves?" So if this is the threat on which you begin, this is not perhaps going to work. So I would rather put it this way. How else could he have done it? Firstly, it would probably say, "This is the value I've brought to the company in the last year. I'm looking to discuss my future in the company. Can we set up a meeting to discuss this?" Would probably be a more polite way, and you're setting the negotiating table ready for a negotiation to happen. So this is probably a more healthier way to do it. So there is no perceived threat. You're asking for a meeting, and you're also talking about the value you have brought to the company. So it's always good to research what you want to ask and how you want to ask it. So what are the possible objections that the management could have in giving you a raise, and how would I counter that? Okay, so this is something that is always better to work it out. You do your research, see what are the other people at your own hierarchy getting, and how is it that I can put this offer to the company, especially by saying that this is the value I've added to the company and this is what I we can work on. So this is about salary negotiations. So let me just, and probably these kind of techniques work across situations. So whether it is with a child or with an adult at the professional space, or with a teenage daughter and the conflicts getting higher. So these are constant wars that are happening in the home zone as well. So from the office setup, let me move to the home setup again, and enact a small little role play here on the typical scenario being the conflict situation is that there is this mother-daughter conversation happening. The daughter wants to go on a solo backpacking trip abroad, and this is what she's putting forth to the mother, and this is the conflict that is going to ensue, and let's see how this negotiation goes. So to do this, inviting my daughter for the day, Sri Devi, to come here. Yes, lady. So you sent me a message this morning saying that we need to talk. That sounded a little strange because I know we're talking every day. So what is the special request for a we need to talk kind of a situation?
Okay, Mom, remember I told you about this friend of mine, Amog, who went on a solo trip to Thailand and had a really great time. I was thinking since my exams got over, maybe I can do something like that. I know Thailand's too far. Maybe I'll go to somewhere closer and safer. Dubai maybe?
Really? Now, I know we've you hinted at this in the past, but you know what? Firstly, I'm glad that it's just a solo trip. I was thinking more on the lines of, okay, here is this boy that I want to marry and things like that. So this is like still seems like a safer option. Now, yes, a solo trip sounds like a good idea, but my concern is you've never traveled alone, and going to Dubai, I know there are a lot of, I mean, it's still a safer option, but don't you think, I mean, we can go together, we can go as a family?
No, mom, come on. Every time you and dad come with me wherever we go, it's first time I want to be independent. I've turned 18 like 5 years ago.
Okay, I get that, but what is this about the solo trip? I mean, there are so many things that can go wrong. Why don't you just travel maybe within the country first, and then let's get a feel of that, and then perhaps you can take the solo trip. I'd be more confident then.
Okay. So you're saying I can go on a trip in India. How safe is India compared to Dubai now? Tell me.
No, at least here we could be in touch, and you know, if something goes wrong, there are always relatives and friends that we can call upon to bail you out. So I'm thinking you could take the train, we could book those tickets for you, or you know, you could just give me a trial run on that, and then we could discuss that. Of course, finally, all this is of course to be approved by Dad before we take this decision. So let's put this. So tell me, how long do you want to go on this trip?
I want to go for at least a week. Minimum 1 week.
Okay, but what is the guarantee? Now, see, there is this agreement that we want. I know you want to have fun, you want to have your freedom, but there are these conditions that I'm going to put for you, and on those conditions, you can go. If you're acceptable to those conditions, then I guess we can give it a thought.
Okay, most of the things in my life I've done with conditions, so why not this also? Shoot your conditions.
Okay, so I'm going to lay out first conditions is pending approval of Dad. Secondly, we're going to be giving you a budget, and you have to stick to that budget and not really overshoot that. Reasonable, right? And of course, you have to keep in touch with us constantly. So you have to be letting us know where you are, and make sure you share all the places that you're going to be staying in. And also, you know, I must never ever hear about somebody else joining you somewhere on the way. And so if you're going to assure me and all this, I'm going to let you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this sounds like a good plan to me, except there's no WhatsApp calls allowed in Dubai, which I've already researched about. So you'll have to be okay with me messaging you and updating you everything.
Sure.
And hotel should be a 5-star hotel.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes, I thought I gave you a budget. Definitely not going to be in that budget. 5-star hotels for a week.
Okay. So what's my budget? So
No, if you're going to fund yourself partially, then I'm going to give you the next part of it.
okay, I think I'll go with your conditions, provided you convince Dad on behalf of me.
Okay. We'll try that. We'll work on it together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
So negotiations are about meeting halfway, and with teenagers, this was still a little less hostile and quite amicable. So there are sometimes I hear about greater wars happening at home on the home turf. So this is everything is about good. I mean there is always a concern on the part of a parent to do the right thing. At the same time, there is a time pressure, and there are other constraints that may make these decisions difficult. But it's always a win-win situation that you can aim for and work towards. And it's always the conciliatory tone which wins over than a retaliatory or an aggressive mode that you go in saying that I am very valuable to the company and they have to give me a raise, otherwise I'm going to quit. So that kind of an approach most often doesn't work, whether it's with a child, a teenager, or at the workplace. So keep this simple, keep the tone friendly, set the table for the negotiation, set the stage for it, and most often you can win it if you know what your goal is and what you want, what is the price you're willing to pay, what's the time you will give yourself, and at the end, the bottom line always is, let's not be afraid, let's not fear negotiation, but let's negotiate without fear.